Good afternoon. I am Sammy. I am with Eunoia. I am the designer behind Sarah and Jax Rabbit. Today is day one of our sew along in the pattern group. All my videos will be posted onto YouTube. It's just more convenient that way, and Facebook is glitchy and I don't like it. So all my videos for the sew along will be posted to YouTube and then shared in the pattern group. Today is day one, so we're going over piecing our pattern, which I already did and I already cut out. That was pretty straightforward. And then I will be going over fabric choices and selection. And then I will show you how I cut out my Sarah and my Jax. I'll be making both Sarah and Jax this week with different options to kind of just cover the bases in the pattern. So let me get started. I'm trying to make sure that I have everything that I need, and I think I do. I am going to start by showing you the pattern pieces. The body is the same as our Miss Whiskers, and it will be the same for our future Cuddle Friend patterns. On the pattern you will see letter indication, and you are going to match these letters with the instructions, with the steps and the instructions. So just take note when you're going through the instructions that the letters, when it says like sew from E to G is on the pattern piece itself. I recommend that you do not write in these pattern indicators on your pieces unless you use like an invisible pen, or use like a piece of scrap paper and pin it or clip it onto your pattern piece. You could do that. But all of this pattern is sewn with a 1/4 inch seam allowance. So unless you get it into your 1/4 inch seam allowance, it will show. So again, if you don't use an invisible pen or marker, fabric marker, you just want to be aware of that. So I'm going to first show you my completed Sarah and Jax. This is Sarah. I made her out of fleece. The pattern is written with both fleece and woven. A few things to note is the pattern is the direction of stretch if you do decide to use fleece. For instance, well, let me show you on the pattern. This is the grain line. So it's not the greatest stretch. This is the grain line. I will go back in and fix this pattern. We've caught a lot of errors the last week, but we have been going back and updating. But this is the grain line, so do not confuse that with stretch. Okay, if you do sew your arms on the greatest stretch, it's going down, you're going to end up with these long funky arms like I did. I was not paying attention. I was trying to squeeze my pattern piece into like the last little bit of fabric I had, and the stretch was going down the wrong way. So when I stuffed her, her arms got freakishly long and she just looks ridiculous. So it kind of gives her her own little charm though. She's kind of just lengthy. Her arms are longer than her legs. So just be aware of that. So like I said, she is fleece. This little belly panel I did was in knit. I used a lightweight interfacing for that, as well as the ears, just so when I sewed it all together it didn't get wonky. So that is that. For Jax, I used oh, I forget what kind of fleece this was. It might have been polar fleece. I don't quite remember. But I used a satin belly panel and satin ears. For Jax's ears, you will need low loft quilt batting. I do suggest you use warm and natural quilt batting. It looks like this. It's about a 1/4 inch thick. It's pretty nice. One side is really soft, one side is more, the nap is more smooth. So this is what I suggest for Jax's ears. I do not like that fluffy polyester, like polyfill kind of stuff for quilt batting. I just don't like it in general for quilts. But this low loft, warm and natural quilt batting is great for Jax's ears. That's what helps his ears stand up. without any reinforcement, like a wire reinforcement. Now Jax is a year old. He is very well loved and his ears are still standing. So that's pretty remarkable in itself. Both of these bunnies, I haven't done any touch-up work at all, really. They are a little dirty. They're very well loved. My youngest is 4 months old and he's been chewing on Jax's ears. So, fleece. I did both of those out of fleece. I'm going to do one out of woven this week, and I already picked that out. I'm going to do this brown woven, and inside the belly and the ears, I'm going to do this bright colored contrasting fabric. So I'm going to use Sarah for that one. And then, again, just touch base on the fleece. Be aware of your stretch. This is a polar fleece. It stretches more one way and doesn't stretch out all the other. So I really like to use that. For tails, I love this rosette minky stuff. You could also use fur. A few things to note: if you do decide to use cuddle minky in the whole rabbit, you're going to want to pay attention to the nap of the fabric. So like if I run my hand up on this minky, you'll see it kind of get yucky because the nap runs down. So again, pattern indication, you want the nap of the fabric to run down. So just be aware of that if you choose minky, or if you choose a fur. Like Alyssa Finn in our group, she chose fur. She was a very, very brave lady. But her rabbit came out just adorable. So again, if you use fur, you just want to make sure the nap is running down when you cut out your pattern. This is just more stretchy, minky stuff. You could use that if you wanted. This is the fleece that I used for Jax. It's the same exact stuff. It's pretty thin, but it has some nice structure to it. Now you have the minky that has zero stretch at all, which I really love because it acts just like a woven, but it doesn't stretch and get funky when you stuff it, so that's kind of great. This is good stuff to use. It's nice and soft and still cuddly, but again, you want to watch the nap when you cut out this fabric. I am going to sew my 4-month-old AJ. I'm going to sew him a Jax in this green velvet. I have yards and yards of this green velvet. I've made multiple coats out of it, and I just think it will make a perfect little Jax for AJ. So I will be working with this velvet, and I haven't 100% decided on a belly panel if I wanted to do like the John Deere or just go really simple and maybe just do like a solid woven. I haven't quite decided on that one, but I will get started cutting out for Jax. Okay, so I am just going to run my hand across of this velvet. The nap is going down, so I'm going to place my pattern piece. I'm going to start with the body. These lines on the pattern piece, these dotted lines, those are for short stubby legs or short stubby arms. It's totally up to you which ones you want to do. Just to give your little bunny some character. So you can pin around this and cut it out old school. Sorry for the racket, that's my puppy in the kennel underneath my sewing desk. She's scratching or something. So I cut out all my patterns with a rotary cutter. It's just faster for me. It's more accurate. I like it. I've gotten really good at it over the years. Pattern weights come in handy if you are doing a fleece or a minky. Especially for minky, I suggest you For minky or fur, you'll want to put your pattern on the back side, and then with your tailor's chalk, let's see, where's my chalk at? So with your tailor's chalk, you will just trace around your pattern piece and then cut only the woven part. That will help with the loose fur and the hair. That's also really great if you use minky, because minky can get pretty gross too, and leave fur everywhere. So sorry, I'm looking for my other rotary cutter. Don't you hate like when you're using these things and you like hit a pin and then your blade is like just jacked up from running over one pin? It's annoying. So let's see. Yeah, I really need a new blade. Alright, so I got my body cut out. Easy peasy there. Oh, a few things I wanted to mention was toy eyes. It's completely up to you what you want to do. If you want to use vinyl, toy eyes, embroidery, whatever you choose, it's all up to you. There's no right or wrong to it. These are your own little heirloom plushies, so whatever little twist you want to put onto it, just have fun with it. I do recommend, the ones I use are 12mm. I do recommend the 12. If you have to, do a 10. 10 works. You'll get a smaller, beadier eye, which is fine. I think the beady eyes are super cute. And if you, another eye is the 15. And then you'll just get like a little bit bigger. It's a little bit bigger, a little bit more buggy eye of a look. Still super cute. So just some things to consider when you're shopping. Also, toy joints. If you're making these for babies, for your own child, unless you are compliant and you know about compliant laws in your area, then, you know, do your research. But if you're making this for your own child, under 3-year-old, I do recommend toy joints just because they're inside the arm. There is no loose parts. They won't be able to get to it. If you do not want to use toy joints, that's fine. You could always use just hand sew your arm on. There's instructions in the pattern for that. I believe it's one of the very last steps. So if you do not want to use joints, I don't recommend buttons for kids under 3. My kids have been pretty good. Like I said, I've had Sarah. I did buttons for Sarah. She's had about a year now, a little over a year, and she's held up great. I haven't had to resew or reattach arms, so that's good. But that's my 3-year-old. I don't want to like say it's okay for your kid, because all children are different. As always, you want to monitor what your kids are playing with anyways, just to keep an eye on loose threads and buttons and stuff like that, eyeballs. So again, toy joints, it's Monday, so if you order them today, they'll get here by Thursday, Friday, when we do our finishing touches and attach arms. Sometimes Joann's will carry them, and if Joann's has them, they're by the jewelry stuff and the doll making stuff. I haven't had luck at Hobby Lobby with toy joints. If I do find them at Hoblob, they're not the very good ones. They're pretty cheap, and they don't ever stay attached. I stopped using them making plushies for my business, just because I would get customers calling me asking me if I could reattach an arm, so it doesn't look good on me as a business person, and it's not safe for the little ones. So I would be cautious if you find toy joints at Hobby Lobby. They're just the cheap China ones. I've had good luck on Amazon. I'll post my link that I use, the business that I use, on Amazon. If you guys want, I'll share that information with you. So that is my Jax cutout. Like I said, I haven't decided on the belly panel form, so I'm going to hold off on that. And I don't know what kind of tail I want to do. I think I might do this fur, a little brown fluffy tail. I don't know. I'm going to hold off. I'm going to think about it, mull it over. I'll cut out my Sarah next. I'll throw Jax in a pile here. Oh, I need to do the inside of his ears. Since I'm matching his belly to his ears, I'll hold off on that too. I think I have my Sarah figured out though, so. Alright. I found this out of a remnant, I think at Walmart. That's cute. A nice solid little bunny. Alright, so I'm just put the body down here. Lou. The dog's name's Lou. So if you hear me yelling at her, that's who I'm yelling at. And I just took her potty too, so I think she's just whining because I'm talking and she hears me. Normally she's out running around, but doing a video, I can't really have her running around with my 3-year-old. They are just a little bit too loud for video time. So she got put in the kennel for a little nap. Alright, so I put my body. I like to do my bigger pieces first. So I'll get, now I just need one set of ears like cut out with the brown because I'll be using the contrasting fabric for the inside of the ear. And these little rotary cutters are just the best. They are my favorite thing to cut out plushy patterns with, because I'm able to turn those tight corners. If you guys are in the States, H&M will take your fabric scraps. Most of them have a drop-off location. So that's a nice little tidbit to know. Just collect all your fabric scraps, and if you are near an H&M, you could drop them off and they will recycle them for you. So that's kind of nice. Oh my gosh, you guys hear her? She's being so dramatic in there. All the moaning and groaning. Blue. A few more minutes. Okay, so that is her body. Got body, ears, face, arms. Okay, so I'm going to cut out her belly. And then I think on these two, one of our testers mentioned, or actually she went through and did it. She made a little fabric pouch as a little hack. So when we go over this, the steps this week, I'll show you guys. So I am going to actually cut out 2 tummy pieces because I will be making a little pouch. A little tummy pouch. So. And I am just one of those crazy people too that try to get every little square bit of fabric I can out of something. And I just flipped it over because there's more pink down there. And I know my daughter, so. So if you're doing satin or lightweight, something like a double brush poly or a knit or something like that for the contrasting, you totally can. I just suggest a little bit of interfacing so while you sew it doesn't get all wonky and stretch out. It's just a little bit easier to work with. You don't really need it, but a beginner may need it. So I always just like to mention, just have the option there for you guys. fussy. Alright. That's going to be cute. And 2 inner ears, and then I will be done cutting her out. Then I'll give her a good press. Give all my pieces a good press, and if I'm using interfacing on any of them, I will add the interfacing while I press. And you will want to cut out your interfacing the exact same way. Okay, so she'll have 2 little floppy ears there. Now I'll decide on tails, on what I'm going to do. So next time you see me, I'll have everything cut out and pressed and ready to be sewn for our steps. I believe 1 through 8 tomorrow, Tuesday. I'll post it in the pattern group. So this is just getting your pieces together, choosing fabrics. I don't know if I mentioned it, but pattern markers on here are not to be written on the pattern pieces themselves. They are not within the seam allowance. So if you transfer that dot, it will show onto the other side. It will show onto the pattern piece if you transfer it. So it's just as a general guide. So if you're going to use ear placement, you'll just stick a pin in there on your fabric piece, and then, you know, put your bunny's ear up there. So it's just a general guideline. It's not like if you were sewing on a button type of guideline. It's just there to indicate this is the general area on which you'll put the ear. So again, just take it for what it's worth. Match the letters to the pattern instructions as you're going. That's just something to know. I think I went over all the nap, eyes, ears, noses. You could use plastic noses. I don't know the size because I personally don't use plastic noses. I'll show you how to hand embroider on Thursday or Friday, whenever that step is. But they are so cute without noses too. I think Jax just looks so like classic without a nose there and just 2 little eyes. So it's totally up to you what method you prefer. Hand embroider, no nose, plastic nose. Again, channel your inner Eunoia and just do what you want to do. Have fun with it. Alright, make these little plushies your own. If you guys have any questions, drop them below in the comments, or go ahead and tag me, Sammy Jo, in the main pattern group. Thanks. Have a great Monday.